In war, not every hero returns with medals. Some return with promises kept, and others leave behind stories that time can never erase. This is the story of Captain Ethan Walker, his pregnant wife, Emily, and a mission that nearly changed everything. Ethan Walker was an Air Force pilot, 32 years old, calm, disciplined, and respected. He had flown countless missions before, but something about this one felt different. There was a tension in the air, a sense that everything could change in an instant. His wife, Emily, was 8 weeks pregnant, a secret she had kept from him. She wanted to protect him, to keep his mind focused on the mission ahead, without the burden of worry about their unborn child. The night before deployment, Ethan held Emily's hands in his, memorizing the warmth of her skin and the calm rhythm of her pulse. "When I come back, we'll finally start that family we dream about," he said softly. Emily smiled through tears, feeling both the joy of the promise and the fear of what might come. She imagined a future she hadn't yet shared with anyone, a life where Ethan would come home to her every day. They stayed up late, talking quietly, savoring every second together. Ethan traced his fingers along her arm, recalling the moment they first met, the day he knew she was the one, and the nights they spent dreaming of their future. Emily whispered stories of their child's first steps, first words, and first day of school. Neither of them realized how precious these moments were, or how fragile. At 4 a.m., Ethan packed his flight suit and helmet. The soft hum of the alarm clock filled the room as he kissed Emily's forehead, feeling the ache of leaving her behind. "Promise me you'll come back," she whispered. He smiled softly and reassured her. "I always return to you." But even he knew, deep down, that this mission carried more danger than usual. Before leaving, Ethan spent a few moments walking through their home, looking at small details he might miss. Emily's favorite mug, the framed photo of the two of them on their wedding day, the tiny shoes waiting in the nursery that didn't exist yet. He carried these images in his mind like talismans, hoping they would protect him. The mission itself was classified. Intelligence had revealed that a group of hostages, including American civilians, was being moved through a hostile desert region. Ethan's squadron had been assigned aerial support for the extraction team. The stakes were high, and the enemy was well armed and unpredictable. The briefing room was tense, with pilots and support staff listening intently to maps and satellite images. Ethan's mind, however, was momentarily on Emily, on the life waiting for him back home. Ethan's father, Master Sergeant Mark Walker, had served 28 years in the U.S. Army. Though stationed at a different base, he heard about the mission. Mark called Ethan, his voice tight with concern. "Son, I know what mission you're on. Be careful. Come home. Don't make me bury you." Ethan laughed softly. "You raised me to be a fighter, Dad. I'll be fine." But Mark didn't laugh. The thought of his son, his only son, facing unimaginable danger made his chest tighten. He had survived countless battles himself, but the fear for his child was something entirely new. He couldn't sleep that night, replaying Ethan's childhood moments, the first time he rode a bike, the day he graduated from the academy, all the memories that suddenly felt fragile in the face of war. The night sky was clear as Ethan's jet soared over the desert. The ground below was dark, dotted with the faint glow of campfires and vehicle headlights. His squadron moved in formation, each pilot aware of the lives depending on them. The tension was palpable. Every second counted. Ethan reflected on the sacrifices he had made, the friends he had lost, and the oath he had taken to protect those who could not protect themselves. Suddenly, the unthinkable happened. A missile streaked across the sky and struck Ethan's jet. The cockpit shook violently, alarms blaring in rapid succession. Smoke filled the cabin, and flames licked the edges of the fuselage. "Mayday! Mayday! Eagle 1 hit!" Ethan shouted into the radio. Back home, Emily stirred awake, sensing something wrong. A chill ran down her spine. She couldn't explain it, but she felt a strange connection to him in that moment, as if a shadow had fallen over her heart. She sat in bed, clutching the blanket, praying silently for his safety. Ethan's training kicked in. He stabilized the jet, fighting the flames and keeping control. He had two choices: eject immediately and save himself, or hold the aircraft steady long enough for the rescue team to complete the extraction of the hostages. He chose the latter. For 67 agonizing seconds, Ethan held the burning jet in the sky, maneuvering with precision while flames consumed parts of the aircraft. He thought of Emily and the child she carried, imagining the life that depended on him returning. 12 hostages were extracted safely below, unaware of the risk their savior faced above them. His last words over the radio were, "Tell my wife, I kept my promise." Then came the silence. When the news reached Emily, she dropped her phone and fell to the floor. "Please, he promised," she whispered, tears streaming down her face. Fear, grief, and helplessness gripped her all at once. Meanwhile, Mark, Ethan's father, insisted on joining the recovery team despite protocol. He couldn't stay behind. He had trained for years, faced death countless times. But this was different. This was his son's life. Every hour that passed felt like an eternity. He remembered all the moments with Ethan, teaching him to throw a baseball, showing him how to tie knots, guiding him through the academy, all the lessons he had given, and now none of them seemed enough. Teams scoured the desert through scorching heat and swirling sands. They found wreckage, but Ethan was nowhere to be seen. Hope was fading, and despair was beginning to set in. Hours became days, and Emily clung to the idea that somehow, miraculously, he would return. She wrote letters she didn't know he would receive, placing them in a small box on her nightstand, telling him about the life waiting for him, about the child he would never meet if he didn't return. On the second day, just as the sun rose over the horizon, a weak voice crackled over the radio. It was Ethan. Search teams rushed toward the coordinates, adrenaline coursing through their veins. They found him under the wing of the wrecked aircraft, injured, dehydrated, but alive. The first person to reach him was his father. Mark dropped to his knees, hugged him tightly, and cried, "You stupid kid! You scared the life out of me." Ethan, exhausted and weak, whispered, "Dad, I had to finish the mission." Weeks later, Ethan finally returned home. Emily ran into his arms at the airport, sobbing with relief. "I thought I'd never see you again," he whispered, holding her tightly. She placed his hand on her stomach, revealing the secret she had carried all this time. "You almost didn't, but your son was waiting for you too." Ethan froze. Tears rolled down his face as he gently touched her belly. "I became a father the day I almost died," he said softly. He kissed her stomach, feeling the life inside, and promised, "I'm never leaving you both again. Not without coming back." 9 months later, their son, Noah Walker, was born. The first gift he received was a folded American flag that had been placed on his father's flight gear the day Ethan went missing. Ethan placed it in Noah's room, a reminder that the flag represented more than war. It represented the reason he came home. This is a story of love, a story of family, a story of courage, sacrifice, and promises kept. It is a story that proves that sometimes the greatest battles are fought not on the battlefield, but in the heart. This story is not just about war or danger. It is about the power of love, the strength of family, and the courage to keep going even when the odds are stacked against you. It is a story that reminds us all that the most important victories are not measured in medals or awards, but in the lives we protect, the promises we honor, and the hearts we hold close. And so, Captain Ethan Walker's story continues, not in headlines or history books, but in the laughter of his son, the warmth of his wife, and the quiet pride of a father who once feared losing his child to the battlefield. It is a story of hope, of resilience, and of the enduring power of love that carries through every mission, every challenge, and every day.